OMG. Good morning and welcome to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. Have you don't go outside if you don't have to. That's the bottom line this morning. The air coming out of Canada, all up and down the eastern seaboard. Washington got it, Philly got it bad. We know New York looks like it was bombed. We're going to talk about the bad air that people are breathing this morning. It is awful. Stay inside if you can. Also, this morning, a dead raccoon and a sign with an intimidating message was left outside the law office of an Oregon mayor. We're going to talk about that this morning. What did it all mean? Also, an economist and Howard University professor, William Spriggs, who worked in the Obama administration, has died. Of course, it's Black Music Appreciation Month, and Lifetime is releasing a movie about Keyshia Cole. It's debuting next week. We will have the information. And the Kings of Queens, the Kings from Queens, Run DMC will headline a huge 50th anniversary hip hop celebration at Yankee Stadium in New York, where it all began in the Bronx. Hip hop 50th anniversary celebration. We'll tell you who else is on the bill. All of the legends are there. We do all that with the one and only Barrington Salmon. Good morning, Barrington.
Good morning. How are
Hey,
you?
we'll be coming here. You breathing that air? Stay inside.
I've been inside. I've been writing.
Stay inside. You've been You're always writing.
Yeah, that's all I do.
That's all you do.
Yeah.
So Barrington, if y'all don't know, y'all got to go to Barrington's Facebook page. He's up there giving all this relationship advice.
I'm not giving. I all I did was share some advice that one of my really close friends sent to me.
Listen, so should I listen to you or Steve Harvey?
You better listen to me. You'd be a whole lot better off.
Much better off, right?
A whole lot better off.
Last night I was on the Memphis Joke Show. Oh
How was
my
that?
goodness, Memphis is the man. We had a good time last night. Y'all got to check him out. He's been on this show before too, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. He has this horn. He be blowing this horn, and it's just like, oh shoot, what's going on here? I said it's too early for us to blow horns.
No, it's not. It's never too early.
It's never too early.
No.
We got to start blowing horns, Greer.
Okay.
Barrington,
I'll get
more than 55 million people across the Northeast, Midwest, and Mid-Atlantic are under a air quality alert as wildfire smoke originating from Canada shrouds major U.S. cities. Officials in Philadelphia urge residents to remain indoors and avoid strenuous activities outdoors, and public schools in New York and Washington, D.C. canceled outdoor activities due to poor air quality. The sky over New York, it's like they were bombed. It turned orange, and a Broadway actor had to stop in mid-performance. They had to replace her.
Yeah.
And start the show all over again because she had I believe something like an asthmatic attack because of the air. The air quality index, it was 182, which is very unhealthy.
Yeah.
What's Barrington? We got this stuff coming in from Canada. I lived in Los Angeles for 7 years, and we had those wildfires. They still have them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen anything like this, though.
This is 400 wildfires that have been burning for at least a month. So this is just the culmination of all of that, and with the weather patterns and stuff, all it is the smoke just coming like everything else. It is indicative of the climate crisis that we're in.
Yep.
Because wildfires, it's like everything has gone crazy. Wildfires, floods, and all that stuff. And the thing is that we are stuck between a rock and a hard place, because the earth continues to give us evidence of the state of its being, but the people that claim to be the leaders, they make promises. They go to these COP27 and all this stuff, all these huge global gatherings, and they make promises about what they're going to do, and then they don't do anything. So
Goodness grief.
it's tough. It's tough. It's crazy. And that somebody was saying yesterday that they don't expect this smoke that's shrouded most of the East Coast to leave until Saturday.
Yeah, the forecasters are saying Saturday, perhaps Sunday at the latest, but you never know.
You don't know. You don't know.
Because the way it just covered the region, and not just the region, but up and down the coast.
Yeah.
And they had to cancel
all the way to Minnesota.
all the way to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Wow. So this thing has gone out west.
Well, Midwest.
Midwest, yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness grief.
So it's concerning, but it's all. I mean, I think it's helpful in the sense that you can see the effect of it, because usually if there's no smoke and you talk about the effects of climate change, people think you're talking foolishness because they can't see anything.
Right.
But in this particular case, nobody can deny that what we're seeing is what's real.
Yeah, absolutely. And Timothy Williams is asking how is it going away if the fires are still burning? They are still burning.
Wind
That's
changes.
my question.
The wind's always changing.
Yeah.
And, after a while, stuff is gonna blow away. Now, if it were the type of thing where you were gonna have a steady stream of the smoke coming from Canada, then you wouldn't know, when and how it's gonna leave.
Yeah.
But with the way that weather patterns are, that's what. And I mean, hey, I would love to be getting paid as a meteorologist because they get it wrong 90% of the time, but it's
90% of the time.
So who knows?
Yeah, could you imagine if we got our articles wrong?
Oh.
It's like 1% of the time we done.
and like Chris Rock said, a pilot just needs to make one mistake one time.
That's it.
And we done.
That's it. And why you got to mention that? I got to fly. If Sinead's flying this week, I got to fly soon.
Just pray.
Michelle Madison says when we moved back to the East Coast from California a few years ago, we thought that we were leaving wildfires. Grandma used to say that these are the last days.
Yeah.
Oh my! It's just when you look out, I'm looking out a window now, and it's it doesn't look.
Is it pretty much the same?
Well, it's a little better here, but New York is not.
Yeah.
DC is still bad. So this is a situation where you gotta be cautious if you're not going to work. If you're not doing something essential, you should just stay indoors for right now. Particularly if you already have some respiratory problems.
Yeah, wear a mask, because I saw a bunch of people on TV wearing masks and stuff like that. So I guess that's one way to mitigate the problem.
Yeah, we're back to wearing masks, right?
Yeah. But I'm sure that not most, a certain segment of the population will say that they're not going to wear it. They prefer to die than to take common sense measures. But I always believe in culling the herd. If you're so stupid that you're not going to do things to safeguard your health, then maybe you need to go.
Yeah. Lorna Hawkins says not flying right now. I will drive. Timothy Williams says not the mask. And David Youngblood says, I am wearing a mask today. Yeah, I feel the same way, David. If I have to step outdoors, I think I'm putting on the mask. I got some black mask. That blue stuff, man. Those hospital things or whatever, that always bother me. Those little thin blue masks.
But I hate masks.
I hate masks too. I do.
It was really hard to be wearing masks and stuff, and
I didn't have a problem wearing them when I had to.
Well, I had a problem wearing them.
I don't like them.
I just don't like them. Oh, looky here.
Wait, where's Austin?
Yeah.
Look here.
You missed out.
I thought I heard Austin all of a sudden. For those who may not know. But we'll continue to monitor this. Hopefully, like you said, the forecasters are saying Saturday. Hopefully, it will go away.
But the biggest problem, Stacey, is that, I mean, I read something that said that fossil fuel industry in the US,
Mhm.
they get like a $28 billion subsidy, right? And everything that them idiots in the House are doing, the idiots meaning the Republicans for the most
Yeah.
part, the so-called leaders of the House, all they all they're doing is subsidizing fossil fuels and all of these industries. They have been trying to take money back from renewable energy. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And
You know, I thought about, like, for instance, at the Washington Informer, for instance, Kayla Benjamin
Mhm.
has been doing a masterful job of writing about environmental issues and climate change and all that. And I used to think that people who specialize in things like that, writing about that, like, what's the point? Years ago, but as time went on a little bit, I'm like,
yeah,
We do need to know."
yeah, yeah,
I was one of those, but we definitely need to know, and I'm so glad that, members of the Black press, papers that we have, do have, the Caleb Benjamins of the world, because she is absolutely awesome. You can, learn a lot, or at least stay up to speed,
yeah.
with, environmental issues globally, reading, Kayla's, stories. She really digs into them, and most of her stuff is about environmental racism too. A lot of it, I should
I was
say.
just going to say that it's so important for us to know what's going on because the 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 all of the places, most of the places that they put toxic chemicals and waste and stuff is in Black communities.
Yep.
I was just reading about and I don't remember where it was, but there was an area that was a landfill with all this toxic material, and they just covered it over with dirt and put 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 homes there and sold them to Black people.
You remember the movie Aaron Brockovich?
Yeah,
So I was living in California, and I actually wrote about when they were filming Julia Roberts, right?
yeah.
Um, I went to it was in Oxnard, California, and I went to the set. It's the first time I didn't meet her, but first time I saw her in person, Julia Roberts,
Hmm.
because I had to. It was a interesting story because of what they were talking about, and they were filming it right there basically in our backyard.
Hmm.
So the Power 96 says the Washington Informer is on it. They update me on everything every hour. Bobby Henry is going in on Austin this morning. You love to see it. You love to see it. He says Austin is caught up in the fog. Bobby done had his oatmeal this morning, so
Oh Lord,
he's ready.
he's ready now.
He's ready to go. Barrington, also this morning, someone left a dead raccoon and a sign with intimidating language that mentioned a Black city councilor outside the law office of an Oregon mayor. Redmond Mayor Ed Fitch found the raccoon in the sign on Monday, and they reported it yesterday to the Redmond Police Department. The sign mentioned Fitch and Redmond City Councilor Clifford Evelyn by name. Fitch called the sign's language racially hateful. Said, I feel bad for Clifford. It seems there are some people in town that can't accept the fact that Clifford is Black and is on city council. Police aren't revealing the sign's exact language, they say, so that they can maintain the integrity of the investigation.
Yeah.
It's, this hate is it, politics is it's nothing like it used to be. I mean, it's never good. It was always, you always had these nefarious and nasty people in politics, but it was mostly, um, you know, not in public.
Yeah, and politicians used to have a code, and they used to be able to be shamed. So there were certain things that even if they might want to do it, they wouldn't do it for fear of being exposed. But now we're dealing with a, a, a new crew of, and it's I was arguing with a friend of mine yesterday because I was saying, I posted an article on Facebook where somebody was arguing that the conservatives are most corrupt, and she was giving me this whataboutism. Why aren't you talking about Democrats? I'm like, listen, they're both corrupt, but you have some people that are just blatant and
Yeah,
brazen with it,
brazen.
like Clarence Thomas. You know,
Hmm.
you notice that yesterday they were supposed to file their what do they call them, forms, expense, not, is it expense forms? It's not expense forms, but the forms that talk about, you know, what type of gifts they've gotten and all that type of stuff.
Financial disclosures.
Thank you, sir. Financial disclosure. My brain's not working.
I had to let you stew for a little
Oh,
while.
well, okay, thank you. And Alito and Thomas
Oh
asked
gosh.
for more time.
More time for what? So,
More time for them to fill out the forms, and more time to get their lies straight, I'm sure.
right.
You know. So we're living in a different time politically,
Yep.
and it's been a steady drumbeat from Orange Jesus and people like DeSantis and others who who constantly use fear, fear of black people, fear of gay people to keep their base riled up.
Yeah.
The thing for me, as I'm thinking about that, I hope that the police department is serious in their investigation, because a large part of the problem that I think we have is that they are apologists and they are sympathetic to the people who are doing what they're doing, to
Yeah.
the racists and the fascists and all those types.
Yeah.
So, you know, and the man, the black city council member, I hope he's got a gun or some type of protection. No, I'm
Protect
serious.
themselves.
And I don't
Right.
like,
You're
I don't
speaking
like
about
guns.
protection. I
Yeah,
get it.
I don't like guns,
Yeah.
but it's clear that these folks think that they can do what they want, and every now and then you got to give them something to take with them when they go.
Yeah.
So
And we know, as we see on the screen there, what that coon means.
yeah,
And for them to do that so openly is really disgusting. Um,
wait, what is this?
well,
Jim
one
Crow
the
music?
raccoon, the hateful message along with the picture of a raccoon to the
Yeah,
black man. That's what that is. So the Jim Crow Museum describes what it means. When the black person is labeled a coon.
yeah.
So,
Hmm.
and speaking of your old friend Donald Trump,
My old
or
friend
you call him Orange
Orange Jesus.
Jesus. I know you had texted yesterday. You was like, "Yeah, I want to," but so he was informed that he is the subject
Yeah,
of a federal grand jury regarding the documents. Um, I gotta ask this question. Now I know he was the most egregious when it comes to these. All the presidents, in fact, the archive said that all of the presidents have at some point or another taken these documents, but they've returned them immediately when they found that they had them.
yeah.
And of course, we know Trump's feeling that he could just, if he dreams about declassifying them, they
No, no, no,
declassified or
no,
whatever.
no, 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 no. Trump thinks he's slick, Stacy.
Oh, I know. That's his public
His public position. Yeah,
position.
yeah,
But it, he doesn't this though, because they're not going to prosecute Pence. They're not, he had documents. They're not going to prosecute Biden. He had documents. They're not going to prosecute Obama, Bush. They're not prosecuting obviously Carter and Carter. Speaking of Jimmy Carter, more news on him. Rosalind Carter now was diagnosed with
diagnosed with dementia.
dementia. Those they lived a long life. Good for
He's
the
98
Carters.
and she's 90. What?
I think she's 96. I want to say David can correct us.
Yeah, yeah,
But regardless, they that those were that was a couple that I mean, she was always very distinguished. Even in her younger years, she appeared to be a very distinguished person, a very Carter, very distinguished guy for a politician, just as upstanding as a politician can get,
mhm,
right? And his post presidency, he became the most popular president past president in U.S. history until Barack Obama.
And that's because of the charity work he's done. Habitat for the Homeless.
Yeah, it's not just a charity, right? It's that right there. That's charity, yes, but he didn't just give or promote. He was down in the trenches
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
building
yeah,
homes and things of that nature, and it wasn't for the cameras.
yeah. Yeah.
And he also made a lot of sense when he spoke about issues.
But
Um,
he's the epitome of a down home guy. Very down to earth. No pretension, no ears, that type of thing. So yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and he has always put his money where his mouth is.
yeah.
Because go on.
Lorna Hawkins said Carter cared. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
He did. I always remember the devastation of when that failed hostage rescue mission.
yeah,
Uh, this guy, I was a kid, but I remember so well how devastated, and it wasn't an act in any way. He was absolutely devastated
yeah,
that this mission had failed. David Youngblood said both Rosalind and the former president are genuine in their humility. Um, yeah. So anyway,
and
we
their humanity. Yeah.
yeah, and their humanity. Yeah, absolutely. Um, so going back to Trump for momentarily. So the documents,
Mhm.
um, what I'm saying, Barrington, it's going to give him that if he gets indicted, which it
Not
sounds
if,
like
not if, when.
when he gets indicted for the documents, it's going to sound like he's gonna say witch hunt. He's
It
the
don't
only
matter. It
president.
don't matter. It don't
But
matter, Stacey.
but does it matter to voters, Barrington?
It matters to the voters that matter. Because one of the things that always makes me a little crazy is that you read these stories in the mainstream media, and they keep on, whether advertently or inadvertently, they keep on giving the impression that the whole goddamn country supports Donald Trump, and they don't.
Mhm.
30% of the people who they said 30, but he's got like a 30%, like solid 30% of his people. The rest of the country, particularly with all of this garbage that he's been doing, him and the Republicans, this is he can say he and at the end of the day, I think most of all of his squawking and foolishness is to rile up his base. And I guarantee you that when he gets indicted, he's going to send out about 365 videos and emails to get money. So
Oh
it's still going
yeah,
to be another grift.
it's going to be another grift. He- it's so interesting. He we're hearing that in Georgia, Fani is going to indict him in
Yeah.
a couple of months.
TikTok,
He
TikTok.
Yeah, and but what we're not hearing is January 6th.
No, no, no. Um, Jack Smith.
Well, Jack Smith is
Wait,
also
hold on, hold on.
investigating.
He's running. He has been running parallel investigations
Yes, yes,
into the classified documents and also January 6th, because Steve Bannon just got a subpoena
yeah,
yesterday
yeah,
about January 6th.
yeah.
So I always say, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it ain't going on,
Right, right.
right? So this dude should be worried.
And have you seen the field? Have you seen the entire field
Oh
for the
God, yes.
Republican?
What a joke.
Oh my! And you know, and speaking of, I have to share this because I got a couple of texts, one yesterday and one early this morning from Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Really?
And I was telling Greer about him. He wants to talk to the black press. Um,
Oh,
and
what happened to him though?
but here's the
Like he's
thing.
gone sideways.
Yeah, well, here's the thing about it. Yeah, I mean, people say he's as
No, no,
nutty as
no. With
fruitcake.
with his anti-vax thing, it's like he's just gone all the
He's
way
just going
sideways.
off the board, right? But here's the thing with him. Um, the polling numbers are incredible.
He's a Kennedy. It's the last. It's the
He's
last
the
name,
last
right?
of the, yeah,
It's a Kennedy, because he's like polling like a 20%, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, he's polling. He's
polling
polling
like
at
a 20%.
it depends on who he's next, who they put him. Like him against Biden, I think he's at 20,
Yeah.
21%, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Him against Trump, it's like 30-30 with everybody
Really?
else undecided. Him and DeSantis is like a
Yeah.
5-point differential. How is that? But I guess
Kennedy.
you just
Kennedy.
answered. I didn't think about
Kennedy.
the obvious is right in my face,
The
right? You remember
American
Eddie Murphy
dynasty, bro.
movie?
The American dynasty.
Yeah. You remember that Eddie Murphy movie, The Distinguished Gentleman? The
Yeah.
name you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's really, really interesting. Power 96 says, ask the former CEO of CNN how many people support Donald Trump. Yep, licked was
Yeah.
fired. Yes, he got licked yesterday.
Yeah. It's amazing. When I heard about, because I was like, I'm not going to subject myself to this, listening to this liar for 90 minutes. But when I heard that they did it, I was like, oh, that's the death knell right there. Let's see how
Had
long
to be.
it's going to be before he gets slammed.
Yeah,
So
had to be. There's Robert
Robert F.
Kennedy
Kennedy
Jr.
Jr. But
Yeah.
here's the thing, Stace. And I've written like 3 or 4 stories in the past couple of days about Cornel West, Dr. West,
Yes.
jumping into the race. And I have a really good friend, Michelle Watley, who is a smart, astute observer, political observer. She's a political consultant, all that. And we had a conversation. I said to her, are there any benefits to Dr. West running? And she said that one of the things that people sometimes forget is that you can lose and win.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about the fact that if you're able to propagate your message, if you're able to leverage whatever support you have to move the needle in the direction of, say, Medicare for all, or
Mm-hmm.
any of those programs, then you've won, even though you might have lost. And I hadn't thought of that.
Well,
And
Denise was on the show. Denise Rolock Barnes, the publisher of the Washington Informer, she was on the show the other day,
mhm,
and she made a good point. If you remember Jesse Jackson in
yeah,
1984,
yeah.
I mean, he got the prime spot too on the convention,
Mm,
and so a lot of his agenda was pushed and had to be co-opted
yeah.
because,
They didn't want him to win.
well, not because not only that, but because he had so many what's it, electoral votes behind him.
Yeah.
So
You mean
um
delegates?
delegates, that's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to, there you go. He had so many delegates that you had to make a compromise with him.
Yeah.
And so
But
that's one way that you
yeah,
can win.
yeah. And she was saying that if you have that type of leverage, you can force them to put some of your issues on the platform. So there are ways, but I was looking at the dwarfs that are running for the GOP nomination, and I was like, what the hell? I don't even know the dude's name. I think his name is Burgum or something, the governor of South Dakota or North Dakota. I don't know, one of the Dakotas. Never heard of him. Some Indian dude, Swami. He's like a millionaire, and he's like blackface, a dark-skinned man acting like he's a white quote unquote Christian Republican. Then you have Mike Pence. Why is Mike Pence running? Tim Scott, Mike Pence, Nikki Haley. Who else? Oh, I think I'm going to get the most enjoyment from Chris Christie, because
Mhm.
Chris Christie coming to blow some stuff up, because he was talking about Trump being a grifter, Trump and Ivanka and
Mhm.
Jared, with the $2 billion that they got from
Oh
Saudi Arabia,
gosh.
and he made me laugh because he said that all of the rest of them, they're afraid to call the name of he who shall not be named, and he likened Trump to Voldemort, right? So it's gonna be fun because he said he has nothing to lose, so it's gonna be fun, and I mean,
Yeah.
it, it's gonna be
Timothy
nice.
says Christie is mad.
Well, here's the thing. Christie was supposed to have Trump wanted to name Christie to a cabinet position, but Christie had put Kushner's father in prison because Kushner's father had swindled and embezzled a
Yep.
shitload of money and put him in prison, and so he blocked him from becoming a member of the cabinet. So
Yep.
so Christie got a real grievance, right? So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting.
DeSantis ain't gonna win.
No, well, I who knows?
Nah, DeSantis
Who
ain't
knows
gonna
how
win.
that's going to shake out? But um, I tell you what, he has alienated Disney, all of that tourist money, and he's really jeopardizing.
He don't
He's,
care
gosh,
because I heard him the other day, and he was saying that all of the laws and the policies that he put in place in Florida, he wants to do nationally, and that's like, you're an idiot. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen because the rest of the country is not going to sit down and let this idiot come in and do all the things that he's done. All he has been doing is punishing LGBTQ people, punishing Black people. Listen, they passed that law, that immigration law, saying that if you give an undocumented immigrant a ride, if you give them some food, if you do anything to help them, that years in prison and how thousands of dollars in fines, and the immigrants have been voting with their feet. They have left the state.
yeah.
And regular Americans aren't going to go into the fields and do that work. So the consequences of his racism and his bigotry are going to come back real soon to bite him.
Yeah. Well, David Youngblood says Uncle Tim is going to be the Republican nominee.
Someone said that yesterday. That his, I don't know, they said his sunny disposition.
His sunny disposition.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Well, him and Sonny Hostin got into it, didn't they?
Oh
Speaking
yeah.
of Sonny.
Yeah. But they they said that he's a good counter to the Republican Party's dystopian view of America.
I don't know. See, he sounds like Clarence Thomas Jr. to me, but
Yeah, of
that's
course.
me.
But listen, the way that we view people like him and the way that white people view people like him is very different.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I remember one of my bosses at the Washington Times was all excited, running around the newsroom telling people that Clarence Thomas was going to be in the conference room.
Listen.
And he's like, "Barrington, are you coming?" And I was like, "Why?" And he's like, but he's smart and he's a leader. I said, "He's your leader." I said, "He's not a leader. He's not a leader for any sensible, decent Black person."
Let me tell you something. Yeah, white folks like him because of this. And they don't like you because you free. They like him because he ain't free.
Yeah.
He's on the plantation.
And he's always carrying, he always reminds me of Stephen from Django Unchained. He does. He's a punk. And he's a crook.
What he has outwardly done is really incredible, but and I don't say incredible meaning in a good way.
In a good way. Yeah.
Breaking up families is sad.
The recipient of affirmative action from the time that he left Pinpoint, Georgia. And as soon as he becomes Supreme Court Justice, he's like, kick away the ladder. Don't let none of them get anything. I mean, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
Sad news this morning. William Spriggs, the prominent chief economist of the AFL-CIO.
I loved him.
Yeah.
Good people.
Died at the age of 68.
Wow.
He served as a professor at Howard University. He emerged as one of the most influential Black voices in the field and fearlessly confronted his colleagues about their handling of racial issues. President Biden issued a statement last night expressing deep sorrow at the loss of Bill Spriggs, praising him as a remarkable figure who contributed lasting brilliance to economics and brought joy to his friends and colleagues. The president said Bill was a towering figure in his field, a trailblazer who challenged the field's basic assumptions about racial discrimination in labor markets, pay equity, and worker empowerment. His work inspired countless economists, some of whom worked for our administration, to join him in the pursuit of economic justice. Um, he was the first Black American to occupy the role of chief economist for the AFL-CIO. He did a lot, and
I
his
interviewed him all the time
yeah, yeah.
and loved him because he was just really laid back, but incisive, smart, and the, whenever I'm not an economist and I don't pretend to be one, so
Hmm.
I was always glad that I was able to call him and have him explain and break down complex issues in a way that regular folks and dunces like me could understand. So it's a huge loss, and it just saddens me.
Yeah, it is a huge loss, and just 68 years old.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's sad. There was no cause of death given, but nonetheless, William Spriggs, who took economics to the task on race, has died at 68 years old.
Mhm,
Barrington, to the more lighter portion of Let It Be Known this morning,
mhm.
Lifetime is going to release a movie about Keyshia Cole. The network will premiere Keyshia Cole, This Is My Story, on June 24th. She will have her hands all over the project, starring in the film as herself and serving as executive producer.
Okay.
The film will mark her professional acting debut. And in the trailer for the film, she explained why she decided to tell her story on screen. She says, as a young girl, I survived so many different situations. I always wanted to make a movie about my life. And so the film will follow the Grammy nominated singer and songwriter's early days in Oakland, honoring her musical talents to her rise to multi-platinum selling recording artist and television personality, to her
Yeah.
complicated yet warm-hearted relationship, as the description states. And she's going to be her mother. The role of her mother is going to be played by an actress that I really like, and who seems like many people don't talk about it all. Debbie Morgan. I
Ah,
think she is fabulous.
yeah, yeah,
But Keyshia Cole, a Lifetime movie, and she's actually going to star as herself. That I've talked to actors and actresses, and not many want to play themselves.
yeah.
That's a tough role. I remember Richard Pryor and JoJo Dancer, Your Life Is Calling, and
Mm.
that was his biopic or biopic, however you say it,
Biopic.
and he that was after the when he caught on fire, the
Mhm.
free basin, whatever, and he played that.
Yeah,
And I just thought, man, how incredible is that? How for him to play himself, really reenacting that situation.
yeah, yeah. But I think it takes a certain amount of confidence, and I mean, who better to play you than you? So
Yeah. Oh,
if
right, right.
you feel comfortable doing that, yeah, go ahead. It's so interesting because um, I don't really watch a lot of these. I don't know what you call them, but I remember coming across a couple of episodes of, like, I don't know if they were following Keyshia Cole around or whatever,
Hmm.
doing following her life, and it was like, oh my God, this is so messy because she had so many issues with her mom and other things like that. And it's like, wow, and that made me. I always thought, I sure as hell don't want to have the messiness in my life. No, on
Right,
on
right.
screen and for everybody to see because that's my business.
Quinn
So
Quinn Direct, Mr. Direct is watching this morning. He said Ali did a movie as well. Yeah, he did. And when Ali did his movie, and we all love Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, no question. He's the man. I love hearing Ali speak,
yeah,
and I loved hearing Ali speak on social issues, social justice issues, That was a guy who just in his prime, before his prime, past his prime, he did not pull any punches. He
Yeah.
did not kowtow to anybody, but he did not do a good job playing himself. He did not.
Mm.
Will Smith, I'm not even a Will Smith fan, but Will Smith played Ali better than
Yeah.
Ali could play
Yeah.
Ali.
Well,
It was just
just because you want to doesn't mean that you can. I mean,
right,
Ali's not an actor,
right, exactly,
but
exactly.
I think based on a little that I've seen of Keyshia Cole, I imagine she would do a credible job playing herself.
I would imagine,
We'll
yeah,
see.
I would. Well, this is her debut, is the acting
Yeah.
debut, so
Yeah. Yeah.
we will see. And Mr. Durrett, when are we getting on the Excella first class together and going to have some drinks or something?
Who's
Just,
asking that?
just.
Who's asking that?
I'm asking him.
Oh,
He's got to let me know.
a seller.
Oh man,
You trying to get there quickly?
yeah, absolutely. I always try to get there quickly. I hate he says, "LOL." I'm serious, Mr. Durrett. He said, "Whenever," he said, "when you are ready to go." Okay, no
Okay,
problem.
see, so do it.
All right, I'm calling you on that. I got your number too. I got your number. So, I've been looking forward to talk. So yesterday I had a topic that I love talking about was Prince, but another topic I love talking about is the Kings from Queens. From Queens comes Kings. Run
Mm,
DMC, in a historic event that will pay homage to the roots of hip hop. The legendary Yankee Stadium in the Bronx is going to host the star-studded 50th anniversary of hip hop concert. It all started in the Bronx,
yeah,
and it's only appropriate that Yankee Stadium plays host. You can only imagine
yeah.
60,000 folks jammed in. Hip Hop 50 Live will take place on August 11th, symbolizing the day that hip hop culture was born. The concert holds even greater significance than initially anticipated because it's going to be the final show for the Trailblazers Run DMC. They're going to grace the stage as the headlining act with their titled performance, Bottom of the Ninth, The Walk Off.
Mm,
Their set alludes to the fact that they won't be performing again. DMC, Darryl McDaniels, had said earlier this year that the reason why they will not be doing anything more is for the obvious. There's no more Jam Master Jay,
mhm,
um, which is really we talked about Jay the other day as
yeah,
well, but that is sad. Run DMC really, really broke down doors, broke barriers in hip hop. But other acts that are going to be there, it'll be Grandmaster Caz, Curtis Blow, Melly Mel, Roxanne Shante, Scorpio, the Sugar Hill Gang, um, Snoop Dogg, Lil Wayne, Ice Cube, and so many more. T.I., Fat Joe, Common, EPM. Oh, I love EPMD. Slick Rick,
mhm.
Ghostface Killer, Lupe Fiasco, ASAP Ferg.
I love Lupe Fiasco.
Yeah. Eve is
Rick,
going to be there. Lil Kim, Remy Ma, Trina. So many DJs, Battle Cat, Clark Kent, Manny Fresh, Molly Marr. All of them are going to be there. Man,
are you gonna be there?
so I'm glad you asked. So, as my esteemed producer always says, I am so petty.
Oh Lord.
No, let me tell you,
Mhm,
without naming names,
mhm,
unless she said, go ahead and name names. But we were approached, yes, approached, let it be known, was approached, and in a conversation with one of the primary figures, powers that be, said that we want you guys to, um, be there. Not only that,
cover it.
we will right backstage access. We will be able to broadcast from backstage, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm,
And we fantastic. We was excited.
yeah, but
And
there's a
of
but.
course, there's always a but because the black press. If I was still writing for if I was still working for NBC News or writing for the LA Times or whatever, it would be different. It was always different. But the black press, and this is black people treating the black press like stepchildren
Mhm,
because they all use the black press
when
Yes, I'm
they need
going on my soapbox, y'all.
when they
Um,
need it.
when they this is how they get their start in the black press. Tell me something. What, not just a hip hop artist, but what R&B artists, what black pop artists did not benefit or get their start? Say Jet Magazine,
Mhm.
right? Ebony, the Chicago Defender, right? And certainly hip hop got no love from nobody
In the
except,
mainstream media.
right, except the black press, the mainstream media for more than a decade or more. Oh, it's a fad. It will not. Don't
It's,
listen to that
it's
garbage.
the thugs and da 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 da.
Yeah, the radio stations wouldn't play hip hop except 1 hour at night, late at night,
Like two
right?
o'clock in the morning, right?
Exactly, exactly. MTV didn't play y'all, right? VH1 didn't play y'all. There was Video Music Box, DJ Ralph McDaniels, right? And that was like in
And,
these little
BET.
obscure channels, right, where you had to scramble the signal to get it,
Yeah.
right? And so we finally we homeboy that had the power to make the decision, who invited us to that coverage, started ghosting us. Finally, finally, finally got a message via email. It's like sending a fax, modern day fax.
Hmm.
This other company is actually producing it. I don't know what their media situation is going to look like. Y'all need to go through them. I
Really?
ain't going through nobody. We ain't going through nobody. We ain't begging.
Yeah.
We ain't begging. We are
And
the black press of America.
that's a punk,
196 years. We've been around since before the end of slavery,
yeah. But
right?
that's a punk move though.
It's a punk move. It's a punk move, and this person I have a lot of respect for, right? Because otherwise I would say his name.
Hmm.
But it's a punk move. Um, Dr. Chavis, who is the uh, president and CEO of this organization, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, is considered, you know, like a godfather among
Of hip hop.
among hip hop,
Yeah.
the old heads. I've been around him when he's been around them,
Yeah.
and I've seen the response to,
Yeah.
right. Dr. Chavis also is a special advisor to the board of the hip hop Universal Hip Hop Museum, right?
Mhm.
Why? Why would you treat us like this? Why would you treat us like, you know, we don't need you? And truth be told, they don't need us. They don't. They don't. Keeping it real, right? They don't need us. But it's about, like you said about Clarence Thomas. Once he got in his position, what did he do? He didn't just close the door. He bolted it. He kicked the
Yeah.
ladder away.
Yeah.
Nobody could. Hey,
But
we like this
they're thinking they don't need us now. But Greer said they don't need us yet. That's
yet,
true.
right?
Just
Because all of them.
let some misfortune drop on
Yes,
them, and then they're gonna be,
yes,
man, can you do a story? And then
yes.
because
Let me tell you
I get that all the
when
time.
when they started with the Universal Hip Hop Museum,
Yeah.
right? That was just a couple of years ago, a few years ago.
Yeah.
Nobody was talking about. They needed somebody to talk about it. And where did they go? We had a show
Hmm.
with the executive director, the people involved. LL was on the show. My man Chuck D was on the show. Who I got to call Chuck and tell him about this situation.
Yeah.
But um, we had all of those guys promoting. Listen, we're trying to do this. And um, like Chris said, the museum, they're going to need money. Everybody in the bill is, oh yeah, it is true there. But the point is, y'all, this is like my problem with Jay-Z, right? Y'all can say a dude can spend his money however he want to spend his money, but he continues to spend his money with mainstream media. Continues buying big ads and the New York Times and all that stuff. Spending, and you know how much a full page ad in the New York Times costs? It's six figures. You
Yeah.
give one of our newspapers,
Six
one of
figures.
our community black owned newspapers, a six-figure check,
Mm.
and what that would do for that company, right?
But
And
that's
$100,000, $200,000 is gonna do nothing for the LA Times or the New York Times.
yeah.
That's like, okay, nice. It's like giving Bill Gates, $10.
Yeah. But the thing that's a thing that we have to call out. that we
Mm-hmm.
have to.
And that's why we're calling it out this morning.
Because you have these folks in very good financial positions,
Right.
and,
Or
and
in a
they have
position.
no consciousness.
Yeah, not only financial, but you don't have to be in a good finance. But you could be in a position to say, you know what, I have the juice to put you in a position.
Yeah.
You put the black press in a position. How do you do? It's. I remember when Michael Jackson was doing his 30th anniversary concert in New York, and they had all these people inviting all these people, and I remember Jermaine and Joseph Jackson and myself and Catherine discussing the fact that the DJs in New York, the authentic people who supported the Jacksons when they were younger, were being left out.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted me to help them craft a press release about it. And we did. I was in my office. I was working in Westchester in New Rochelle, New York. And I was on the phone. We had a conference call going, me, Joseph, Jermaine, Catherine, and we crafted this press release. And it was really, the press release was interesting because it was really trying to get Michael's attention to say, look, you got to step up and get these New York DJs from 98.7 Kiss, from WBLS. You got to get these guys a role in this, right?
Did it work?
Well, here's what happened. Michael then put out his own press release and says he blamed everything on Jermaine. And he said, I wish you well in your solo career. He will not take part in the celebration. That was his response to it.
Wow.
Now, they finally mended that in time for Jermaine to perform, but this is what happens, right?
Yeah.
So the point of that is, don't be leaving people behind like that. People who were there, who was there for your come up, who gave you the opportunity to have the come up. The black press is given so many, and like y'all said, when they get in trouble,
We're the first ones they call.
yeah, because mainstream media is going for the throat.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I always every time that we talk about things like this, I always give major credit to the late Elin Harris, because he came to Miami when I worked at the Miami Times and called. His press person called and said he's available to talk to you, and so I end up going to this fancy Art Deco restaurant, a hotel in Miami Beach, and he was like, yo, when I was selling books out of the back of my car, the black community was the one that supported me. So every city that he went to on his book tour, the first newspaper that he gave an interview to was the newspaper of note, the black newspaper of note in the city. And he always did one of his events somewhere in the black community. So he spoke to me. I did a story, and then he went to the Joseph Caleb Center in Miami and did his first event. And I have respect for that, because I have called other people. Their press people have called, and one woman in particular, she her press person called, and when I said, when can I do an interview? Well, we're not doing an interview. So I said, so what the hell are you calling me for?
Right.
Why did you call me if you're not going to do an interview? But then I turn around and I see her interview in the Miami Herald.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And as Greer said, she says the Negroes need to understand we ain't mainstream unless we making money for the man. The black press is the real hype man.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And you remember they all had their hype man.
Yeah.
And it's but that's the thing. I always say, and look, fact check it. I dare you to fact check it. When most of them, if not all of them, right, got their start because of the black press. And if they didn't directly because of the black press, it was indirectly because of the black press. And they started with the black press, right? Yeah. And every single time they get in trouble, it's the black press that they run to. Yeah. I look. Again, I hate to harp on I can use more than just Michael, but I just remember when the first time he got in trouble, right? He had never done the NAACP Image Awards. He had never done the Soul Train Awards. He had never done the Black Music Awards. And the moment He walks out on stage with who? Johnny Cochran.
Yeah. Yeah.
Johnny Cochran walked him into the NAACP Image Awards,
Yeah.
right? But that's all. But it's not just him. It's not just. I'm not just picking on him. It's, these hip hop guys are really more. It's more upsetting with these hip hop guys because
Yeah.
Michael was a young star. He was already theirs, right? He
Yeah.
was theirs.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys came from the projects. You came from the neighborhood. I always get on Jay-Z. You can't. It's no way you didn't grow up in the projects in New York and not have the Amsterdam News on your table, or not when you went to get your hair cut. It
Yeah.
wasn't sitting in the barbershop.
Yeah.
It was so. This is, it's like Bernie Mac would say, that's some old bull.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just that to lock us out or not, and this gentleman can say, well, I'm not locking you out. Yeah, you are. You are, and that's fine. We're not going to go call that company and beg to get on the.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that, because if I'm look, it's the same way. Quite honest with you all, I feel the same way about the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Yeah.
Y'all want to put us in the back of the room? I don't need to be there.
Yeah.
I don't need to be there. I can cover it from home. It's on C-SPAN. I don't need to be there. It's like
these people, they everywhere that we turn, we encounter fools who are trying to play us
all the time.
And
but
that's
it's worse when it's people who
black people
try to make their living on keeping it real.
Yeah, please.
They make their living on talking about
keep it real until they start making some money. Then all of a sudden they don't know nobody.
Right.
So,
exactly. So now we supposed
to. I love. I have had situations where folks have ignored me, and then at a particular point they roll back and want me to do stuff, and I just look at them like, you really think that I'm going to just run behind you to do something now? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Listen, it's someone called me the other night. And it was so interesting, the timing of that call, because that's when we got this message from this individual saying, "Oh, you need to go to that company." Whatever. No, we ain't need to go to nobody. And Greer had just said, she named several people, said they'll be calling. One of those people called because they got issues. They got some issues. I was like,
They got issues and they want you to write about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But they didn't go to bat for you.
I said, you know what I said? You know what I said?
What?
That myth about not having, always having enough ink. Mine's ran dry.
Yeah.
It all of a sudden it ran dry. It ran dry.
Yeah.
You don't want to do for us. There are some powers that be too will still kowtow.
No,
I'm not into kowtowing.
Big time.
I'm not into it. Y'all can have that.
Yeah.
You're not that important. And that's the problem too. We're not going to make you important. Not at our expense.
I was thinking
has always been bold, fearless. You got to be bold and fearless when you start.
Not anymore.
Slavery ended.
You have a lot of feckless black people running around trying to run up under white people and all that type of stuff. I'm not with that.
Yeah,
so they can go somewhere else with that. I was thinking about your friend. I was thinking about your friend. And Jones.
That guy.
Yeah.
Another waste of space.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. This guy. Wow, I sound like my mom. She loves to use that term on certain people. Waste of space.
This guy, waste of space.
Yeah. Goodness.
He's not serious. And the interesting thing is that the ones who are the most feckless, the ones who are least serious, are the ones that they keep on throwing up on TV and in the media as people that we're supposed to look up to.
Yeah, but David made a point. And I might consider it, and maybe not, because again, I don't want to seem like we are oppressed.
Yeah.
But David says I should tell Chuck D and the rest of these artists in one voice, say it's a no if the black press is not prominently displayed. And it'd be interesting. What tempts me with that is the interest in seeing how many of those guys. Chuck will probably be the first one to do that.
Yeah.
But how many will join him?
Yeah.
because those guys have gone pop anyway. Those,
They're not trying. They're just like all these. Well, the majority of these athletes, they're not trying to mess with their money. So they've sold their soul for $1 bill.
for $1 bill. Yeah, yeah.
You know.
It's just it's terrible. Um, you know, it would have been nice to bring the black press audience to a view, to give them that type of insight and that type of view.
Mhm.
Um, when you think about all of our newspapers and media companies combined in the NMPA's family, you have a potential of like 40 million people you
Yeah.
reach. A potential, right? Um, and so you realize like you're potentially shutting out, taking away this access for 40 million people,
Yeah.
black people.
Yeah.
And so, as Greer mentioned, there are more black actors and actresses that are making a point to speak to us. Haley Bailey, she certainly she spoke to us. She had no issues getting with us. Last year it was Kelly Rowland.
Yeah.
No issue. In fact, Kelly Rowland gave us she did a separate video to give a shout out to the black press.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right? She talked about the black press in Houston, in Texas, where she came from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So there are some, as they say, some real ones,
Yeah.
but you're hard pressed to find them, outside of the hip hop genre and inside the hip hop genre, I should say,
Mhm.
nowadays. And so now, 50th anniversary, they got the museum coming up. It's
They'll be calling you when
uh,
when 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 the movement for the museum really takes off. You're gonna be getting a whole bunch of calls.
yeah. Well,
Right? Can you
you
help
know
us
what? My number changed.
out?
I'm gonna send them to you.
To me?
But-
Oh, no, 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 no. You you might as well send him to Greer because they're not
oh,
gonna get nothing from me.
listen, sending them to in a lot of ways, sending them to Greer is like sending them to you.
Okay, good. So we can scorch their ass and send them about their business.
Listen, it's like she said, they want us to beg. Listen,
No, ain't
we
no
are
begging.
too proud to beg.
Ain't no begging.
We are too proud to beg.
Ain't no begging.
We ain't doing that. But in serious, like I said, I can't say it enough. It's like, um, what? Who are you, right? Who are you to you don't? How do you not want? That's the thing. How do you not want to make a space like that for the black press? No matter what you might think, we might have a less than desirable blackpressusa.com website, right? We
But
might have
they're
less than
unconscious, Stacy.
huh
They are unconscious.
unconscious.
That's why they act that way.
Yeah. So
Self-loathing,
yeah, yeah,
self-hate,
right.
trying to kiss up to people that's paying their salary or giving them money.
But let me ask you a question real quick, because I know we overtime again, but can't they do all that kissing up but still giving us space?
Yeah, but here's the deal. I've been around long enough to know that there are people. I have encountered black people in supposed positions of power, and they aren't going to do anything to jeopardize their position. So unless they get permission from certain white people, they're not doing it because they certainly don't, and in certain circles they certainly don't want to come off as being pro-black because that might mess up their business.
And that, my friends, is the tragedy.
It is.
That's
It
a
is.
tragedy, and that's a wrap, as Chris said. Eh, Listen, if you want to go to the 50th anniversary, tickets are on sale today. So Ticketmaster, check it out. I will again shout out Run DMC. Great to see them on stage again together for the last time, perhaps. DMC and Run. I don't know who the DJ is going to be, but it's still going to be a very iconic moment to see them put everything to bed on August the 11th. Thanks a lot, Barrington. As always, thank you all for watching, and we will see you again tomorrow.
Have a good one.